What would happen if Tanjiro became a demon instead of Nezuko? How would this affect the story? What would change and what would stay the same? And most of all, how much is this going to affect the final battle with the Demon King himself? Well, I can guarantee that the story of the Kamado siblings would change dramatically, and I'm sure there's one major change you're never going to see coming. So just how different would the story be? Well, first of all, we have to figure out how and why she gets to survive Muzan's attack on her family, leading to Tanjiro getting chomped instead. Firstly, that means she has to be the one out in town selling charcoal instead of her brother. And secondly, Tanjiro has to not go with her to sell the charcoal and stay with the family. Let's start with the first one. The solution might be a lot easier than you'd expect. Tanjiro just got a cold, that's it. I know it sounds way too simple, but it solves both problems immediately. Tanjiro gets a cold and can't go sell the charcoal in the village. The family still needs the money anyway, so instead, Nezuko decides to take up the task and heads down to the village to support the family. So while she's away, Muzan pays the family a little visit and goes on a rampage, killing all the family members and leaving Tanjiro alive and destined to become a demon. He lays there tired, but Nezuko returns just in time and picks him up for a trip back to the village to find a doctor. While they're on their way, Tanjiro turns into a demon, attacks Nezuko, gets stopped by Giyu, yada yada, you know the drill. It's pretty much the same as the original story at this point. The differences start to show up after she masters water breathing from Sakonji and sets off to begin her new life as a demon slayer, while trying to revert her brother into a human. Tanjiro, just like his sister in an alternate universe, would have been brainwashed so he doesn't attack humans. She'd get sent on a mission to Asakusa, and that's where things start to get interesting. Nezuko would go to the city to investigate the rumor of a hidden demon. While she's there, she'd decide to rest at a small noodle shop on the side of the road while Tanjiro sleeps, but her brother would suddenly wake up and get incredibly agitated. Nezuko doesn't have a bloodhound nose like her brother, so she'd be confused as to why he was going crazy all of a sudden. Thanks to Sakonji's brainwashing, he'd not attack anyone, but the commotion is enough to attract the attention of onlookers. Nezuko would notice that he's staring in one direction in particular, and she'd glance that way too, just in time to notice a pale-looking man scratch a random passerby and turn them into a demon. That's all the confirmation she'd need to know who she's looking at. Sakonji told her that the demon that attacked her family is most likely to be the only demon that can turn other humans into demons. Muzan Kibutsuji, the very first demon that ever lived. Nezuko would spring into action to stop the newly transformed demon from eating people, but then she'd notice that Muzan had suddenly disappeared, and the police were fast approaching. While she's dealing with that commotion, she'd have no idea that Muzan was making his way toward her brother, who was still acting out, especially now that the smell of the Demon King was getting stronger and stronger. Why would Muzan be approaching Tanjiro? Well, that's because of the exact same reason he got interested in him in the OG series. Tanjiro's Hanafuda earrings would give Muzan PTSD so intense that he just has to get a look at them for himself. But this time, he's more curious than enraged. Who is this kid, and why did he have those special earrings? He was clearly not a demon slayer when Muzan first turned him into a demon. Maybe this strange child could be the key to finally making a demon that's immune to sunlight. All these things would make Muzan curious about Tanjiro's growth and potential. So now that he'd grown a little, Muzan would try to abduct him so he can check out just how useful Tanjiro would be to him. But just as he's about to make his move and capture Tanjiro, Tamayo would also make a move and use her blood demon art to confuse the crowd. This would allow her to meet Nezuko and convince her to follow her, while Yushiro manages to save Tanjiro from being abducted by Muzan. This would enrage Muzan, and he would summon two demons to kidnap the demon with Hanafuda earrings. That allows Nezuko to meet Tamayo and Yushiro, which is a major plot point that allows the demon slayers to defeat Muzan in their final battle. So far, things have been mostly the same through the two series, but the next part is where things take a major turn into brand new territory. Nezuko meets Zenitsu, who still falls head over heels in love with her. She'd be put off by him though, since their very first meeting would be him harassing a random girl before harassing her. They still work together though, and meet Inosuke at the mansion deep in the forest. From there, the three go on to defeat the drum demon in the mansion and form a new ragtag team, except with a drastically new dynamic. The two are put off by the fact that Nezuko is carrying around a demon boy on her back, but they eventually put it behind them, right as they receive an urgent summon to Mount Naragumo. On the mountain, Nezuko and Tanjiro are confronted by Rui, who's interested in the brother and sister bond they share despite Tanjiro being a demon. Just like before, with Nezuko in the main series, Rui ties up Tanjiro and attempts to kill Nezuko. Now, in the original series, this is where Nezuko uses her blood demon art for the first time, and that's exactly what's going to happen this time as well. Now we get into speculation territory. What's Tanjiro's blood demon art going to be? Nezuko is getting absolutely trashed, since she doesn't know the Hinokami Kagura dance. Only Tanjiro watched their father do it, and he was tied up at the moment. Well, in that moment, Tanjiro gets a vision of his father doing the dance in the cold despite being old and frail. Then he hears his father's voice, urging him to fight and protect his only remaining family. That's when he unlocks it, his blood demon art. Before we get into that, I just want to point out that you've made it pretty far into the video. That's awesome. You must really love what I'm doing here. Well, if you appreciate it, why don't you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you can see more of this type of content more often. Anyway, Tanjiro unlocks a brand new blood demon art, and it actually takes inspiration from the Hinokami Kagura. How? Well, hear me out real quick, because this is gonna get wild. With the power of the Hinokami Kagura, Tanjiro is able to set his body ablaze. From powerful kicks to hard chops with his hands, it's more of an enhanced version of Nezuko's ability to set her blood on fire. In Tanjiro's case, it's very similar, but instead of simply setting the blood on fire, he uses the flames to battle along with parts of the Hinokami Kagura to make his attacks more deadly to demons. With these new powers, he's able to easily turn the tide of battle, saving Nezuko right as Shinobu arrives to save the day. Just like in the anime, she tries to kill Tanjiro but fails. They get summoned to the Ubuyashiki house, where they all meet the Hashira, and Kaguya declares the two as safe and vital to defeating Muzan once and for all. She, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke get housed by Shinobu. And here's where another major change happens, and that's with Kanao. Kanao was moved to change her heart by the strength of Tanjiro's words, and her not-so-subtle crush on him. And while Nezuko is just as kind and gentle, if not even more so than her brother, she'd not say or do things the way her brother would to make Kanao start opening her heart again. And our boy is still out there, too busy being a demon to rizz up any Dandere Demon Slayer girls. After their rehabilitation and training, they head over to their first joint meeting with the Hashira. There, they meet Rengoku for the first time and get on the train to save people. Suddenly, everyone falls asleep and they're placed inside Enmu's dream world. Tanjiro is unaffected though, since he's a demon and tries to wake up Nezuko. When she doesn't wake up, he lightly headbutts her, which, with his solid skull, is still enough to cause her great pain even in her dreams. But she recognizes the strong sensation of the headbutt as her brother's, and uses it as motivation to escape the dream. From there, they manage to defeat Enmu easily, and their next major challenge shows up as Akaza. Now here's another major change from the story, thanks to Tanjiro being the demon this time. Demon Tanjiro, with his Hinokami Kagura inspired blood demon art, would help Rengoku fight Akaza, while Nezuko would initially be frozen in fear. Tanjiro, who had kept track of how kindly Rengoku treated him and his sister, would rush in to help fight the Upper Moon demon. Now, would this save Rengoku? No, I don't think so. In fact, it might slow him down. Tanjiro would be too eager to help in the battle, and even if he is stronger than his demon sister from an alternate universe, he's not strong enough to support Rengoku, and the Flame Breather would give his life to protect the young demon. Next up would be the Entertainment District arc, which would go mostly the same, and Nezuko not having access to the Hinokami Kagura would be one of the main things that affect her here. Not just that, but Daki and Gyutaro would receive a new order from Muzan that would change the entire battle. Capture the sun-breathing demon and kill anyone that gets in your way. And there you have it, guys. My take on how differently the story would have gone if Nezuko became a demon slayer, while Tanjiro became a demon. How do you think things would go from here, and just how much of the story would change now that Muzan is so interested in Tanjiro and his insane new demon abilities? If you want to find out more, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next upload. In the meantime, check out one of our other awesome What If videos. In fact, click the one on your screen right now. Go ahead, click it.